And BNN Bloomberg's Andrew Bell joins me now to talk more about this and help break you down the numbers. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here, and thanks for having me. So the annualized growth in the economy, which is often a metric people look at, of course, economists are great with their adjustments, was 2.2%. Not bad. It's not a booming economy, but it was strong enough given all this tariff uncertainty. There is a suggestion, though, that a lot of that was driven by companies rushing exports to the United States to beat the tariffs. So it may have been an artificially strong reading. Here is what CIBC says. The economy is stumbling, not falling. Kind of reminds me of my partying days when I was on the way home. Sometimes I would fall. So the economy is not thriving, and it may just have got an artificial boost in the first quarter. BMO, though, says this is strong enough for us to abandon our prediction that there will be an interest rate cut, another one, from the Bank of Canada next week. So pretty decent numbers, but it may be artificial in that Trump's tariffs sparked that rush to get exports south of the border.
I guess the next quarter will be the big one that everybody will be paying attention to then.
That's right. They did give a preliminary read for April, and of course we're two-thirds of the way through the second quarter, and that also showed some expansion, which is surprising given all the turmoil, but the economy is hanging in. But remember, these GDP numbers, they're often later on revised, and GDP is always a little troublesome how you measure it. People's input, how do you measure a bank teller, how do you measure a personal care worker in an old folks' home? And sometimes if there's a natural disaster, the efforts to fix it are added to the economy, but nobody would say that's a great thing economically. But in any case, we got to go with what we got.
All right, and let's go back to the tariffs that you mentioned. What are the markets doing right now in response?
We've seen some selling because you remember yesterday, America's trade court, the U.S. International Trade Court, said President Trump's use of emergency powers to slap on tariffs was unwarranted, that there really wasn't an emergency to justify it. But then a U.S. Federal Court of Appeals put that ruling on hold. So it looks like Trump's tariffs may be back on. This thing looks likely to end up at the U.S. Supreme Court. The Trump administration, as you might expect, is saying, we're going ahead with these tariffs, whatever. But their hands may be tied. If the Supreme Court says, no, there really isn't an emergency justification for a lot of these measures you've put on, they could have to resort to more traditional measures. And some of those take months to implement. So it's a battle. Anyway, but it looks like the tariffs are not going away for now because of that appeal court ruling. And so stocks are down.
Okay. Andrew, thank you as always.
Thanks a million.